Something I notice about myself is that, especially in regards to school, there's some sort of resistance. Some sort of resistance to doing anything school related. And that's so weird because with other stuff, it's not that hard to get started, to start working, and doing the simple stuff, like just doing a little bit every day. That's interesting because, like, I wasn't always this way. There was once upon a time it was hard for me to even do anything, period. Legitimately, like, doing anything was difficult. But now I've progressed to the point where it's mostly just school. School is difficult. There's some sort of resistance there, some kind of wall that I can't get over. And it feels like I developed this wall. I developed this resistance to doing anything related to school. Looking around for anything more appealing to do in the time that I'm given. Literally anything. And the weird part about that is that if you think about the amount of time you actually had to study for a test, to work on an assignment, and the amount of time you actually spent working on that assignment or studying, there's a huge discrepancy there. What did you do for those other hours? And when I ask myself that question, I realize, what did I do for those hours? Stuff I didn't really care about, stuff I don't, well, forgive my language, but stuff I don't give a shit about. And yet somehow in the moment that stuff is more appealing than just working. And it's not like the tasks that you do when you're studying or you're doing an assignment are that difficult. It's not like there's no answer to these questions. Teachers usually give you all the tools necessary to solve an assignment or to study for a test. Studying isn't really that difficult. Studying really is just look at some notes, read the notes over, or skim the notes over. Maybe skim the textbook if you have extra time. Do some practice problems. Sure, it requires some brain power, some problem-solving skills, but isn't that simple? Simple in the sense that it's not really that hard to do. It's not like there's a wrong answer and you're wasting your time when you're studying. Almost all studying is helping you in some way or another. Even worse, final exams. For me, it's like a monumental mountain. A giant wall so tall that I have to do crazy thing. It feels like I have to do crazy things just to vault over that mountain and actually get back to studying. This mental block in my brain against anything related to school. I've been thinking about this and how I have this learned behavior. It's almost like there's a brain pathway. Like there's a pathway in my brain that gets triggered every time I feel this way. I think a good name for it would be the avoidance pathway. And this avoidance pathway gets triggered every time I have something to do. I have something due in school. Different things trigger it, but it seems to be anything related to school seems to trigger it a lot. The more stressed I am, the more it gets triggered. And that's such a weird dichotomy there, that the more stressed I am, the more I should be working, and the more my avoidance pathway is being triggered, so the less I actually do work. And it feels like this pathway was built up through repetition from school. Things I did in school. Things I got away with in high school that I'm not getting away with now in college. Due dates. Having nothing done and needing to finish it in like a day. Doing nothing yesterday, but having done nothing yesterday, so all the work from yesterday is now piling up on today. All these things trigger that avoidance pathway. It gives me this weird feeling that makes no logical sense, really. This feeling of like, I want to give up. I want to give up and just let whatever happen happen. This weird self-sabotage. It tries to convince you that if you give up, all your problems will go away. Of course, that's not true, but that's what it's trying to tell you. And at that climax of stress, I feel it most. I feel that feeling of like, if you give up, all your problems will go away. Just let it go. Let the time pass and let whatever happen happen. It's this weird learned self-sabotage. Learned self-sabotage. And it's there. It's always there. Waiting for a good moment to come out and rear its ugly head. Let it all go. Let it all go away and crumble into dust. You weren't even that great anyway. It comes up with excuses to justify its own existence. Man. Shit is tough. There's this really great story called Oyasumi Punpun, or Goodnight Punpun in English. There's a moment from there that really stuck with me, and I think about it every now and then. And I think it's related to this avoidance pathway in some way. Punpun is the type of guy Punpun's a bit of a NEET. He has a job, he goes to work, he doesn't talk to anyone, he finishes his work and he goes home and he curls up in a ball. Because he doesn't like people and he doesn't want to talk to people. Because he doesn't believe that he's good enough to talk to people. He curls up in a ball and he cries all night. And then in the morning he wakes up and he goes back to work. Another character, Sachi, by contrast, is super motivated. She's a manga writer. Manga artist. She draws manga and she wants to make it big in the manga world. And she's motivated and she's driven. She spends all her days She spends most of her day drawing manga, to the point that she's got blotchy hands from all the ink, and a hunched posture. But she's motivated and she's confident and she's positive and bright. Poon and Sachi meet, and Sachi tries to bring Poon up with her. And for a while, Poon came up with her. For a while, Poon was motivated. Having Sachi in his life brought him up and brought him out of his depression. But at the first sign of conflict, at the first sign of resistance, at the first sign of problems, Poon crumbles. Poon crumbles and he goes back to his old ways. He curls up in a ball and he doesn't talk to anyone. Recluses and runs away from all ambition he used to have. And Sachi sees this, and she starts to cry. She says to Poon, "How lucky are you to have given up?" To me, that is such a powerful moment because it means something. It shows us all our secret desires inside that secretly, deep down, we all want to give up. It's not worth the effort, it's too much work. In some way, the avoidance pathway is a part of us. One voice among the many, telling us to give up and let it all go. But yet there's people like Sachi out there who don't let that pathway rule their life. Don't let that thought rule their life. If the price of not giving up is conflict, is pain, is resistance, friction, people like Sachi are willing to make that compromise. And maybe we should too.